Hey, you are so excited, aren't you? He's so excited. Did you take a shot?
Are we saying it?
We can always cut the first part. We can always say whatever.
We're never gonna get through this. So what am I supposed to say? Okay, I gotta stop laughing first.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Mom and Son Unplugged. I'm Damonte, the son part of the show.
And I am Melissa, the mom part of the show.
And for our 15th episode, we are going to be talking to you guys about rejection and how we've handled it and overcome it, and share some funny stories with you guys, insights as well, and just to prove to everyone that we're all human and we can overcome rejection and still be where we are today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Damonte, for introducing episode 15. But like we always do at the beginning of our episodes, Damonte, tell us what you've been up to the past couple weeks. So from what I remember, you've recently gotten a raise at work.
Yep. I forgot for a second. I was like, did I? Yeah, just normal yearly raise, nothing big. And then still running and preparing for our half marathon that we have together coming up soon. What are we, T minus 30 something days?
Yeah, April 25th is our race day. So we are getting close.
So preparing for that, lifting still, and then just relaxing and settling into this place.
Nice.
What about you? What have you been up to? You went on a trip again?
I don't know.
Did you not just go on a trip and it was raining the entire time? Or it was raining the one day?
Oh, to Puerto Rico? Did we not record since Puerto Rico?
I feel
Yeah,
like we haven't.
yeah. What's that?
I feel like we haven't recorded since.
Yeah, we have. We just did the one a couple weeks. We're in March.
Yeah.
Well, I went to I went to Puerto Rico over Valentine's weekend. We've definitely recorded since then.
Okay, well, I guess you'll cut it out if we find out that you have.
I know, it seems like I'm always going somewhere. But no, I did go to Puerto Rico over Valentine's weekend. That was a lot of fun. But the last couple weeks, I've just been relaxing, still unpacking some things in my place, been running. I have been really, really consistent with running. So I'm so excited about that. It has been hard. I will say that. Like training for a half marathon, it's not easy. Yeah, actually, I got to run tomorrow morning, and that is all that I have been up to. I have not been doing much. Yeah. So, all right, let's get into our episode. I'm super excited to talk about this one. Like Damonte is saying, we all go through rejection at some point in our life. So, we wanted to have the conversation with our viewers about our experiences with rejection, how we handled it, how we moved forward. If we never did move forward, if we're still trying to heal from those rejections. And we're hoping that we can connect with you guys on this level and for you guys to provide feedback to us on your rejection experiences and how you've been able to cope with rejection and how it may have helped you even move forward in life. So, without further ado, Damonte, do you have a rejected but funny story, situation from any point in your life, whether it's from school, dating, friends?
I guess the funniest, and I wouldn't say it was a rejection, but it was something that I thought might lead to it. It was my first interview for my first ever internship in college. And I went to go to the interview and I was nervous and I was sitting in the waiting area. And then the interviewers were coming to greet me and I had been drinking water and I was nervous. And I like just got some ice and they like came out and I like quickly put like the top back on and I went and I was like, hey, whatever. And then we went to go to the interview room and I picked I picked it up by the top and I didn't put the top on. So water went everywhere in the lobby of
Oh,
like this place.
no.
And I was like, yeah, that's it for me. But I ended up getting it, but I thought that was gonna be like, man, the clumsy intern, like like he's definitely off the list. Um, but everyone was laughing about it like in a good way,
Oh, that's
and
good.
it was more of we were joking like I had to stand out some way. So that was like that was my way, but that was like the funniest story that I could think of, where I thought it was gonna turn into a rejection.
Oh, okay. And sometimes those embarrassing moments can really be an icebreaker
Yeah.
and kind of ease like the nervousness of going through, say, like a very first interview or an interview period. So, yeah, that is funny though. Like, you're like, oh man, this is it.
What about you? Any job interview rejections or date rejections that were funny?
Let me bring out my scroll. I think I'm like walking embarrassment all the time. I think I have two job ones that are funny. One was right when I was retiring from the military. I was living in Maryland at the time and I was interviewing for some position, but I had to drive to Tyson's Corner and made it to Tyson's Corner. It was in a high rise building, and it was just me and one other individual that was interviewing me. And at this point in my life, I had no experience of being in like a high rise building. So during the interview, they there was this window washer that was coming down, but he was using like like a
The
toilet
squeak?
plunger.
Oh yeah.
It was like a toilet plunger that two of them stuck up against the window. I wasn't used to it, but it scared me initially, and I started laughing, and it just became so awkward because the window washer was like right there through the whole interview. So it's like trying to do the interview, but also this guy is like washing the window. You can still see him. And I'm still like, with me, like once I start laughing, like I can't stop. Like it takes a while for me to stop laughing. But I was like, eventually I was able to stop laughing after like 5 minutes, but it was so funny. I mean, they wanted to hire me for the job. I ended up turning the job down just because I just didn't visually see myself living in Tyson's Corner. But that was the first funny one. And then my second job interview funny story, still living in Maryland. This is when I was in the process of trying to get a job down here in Florida. Well, I was living in Maryland, but I had to do the interview down in DC. And I had to do it at a particular building because it had to be over a certain it had to be done over a certain system. So that way I could see them, they could see me. And going from Maryland to DC in the morning is no easy feat. So I left 2.5 hours ahead of time. Now, mind you, on a day with no traffic, it probably would take me maybe 30 to 45 minutes to get there. So I'm maybe 30 minutes into the drive. And I'm like, no, my women monthly thing was coming on. I could feel it coming on. So I had to stop off at the rest stop, get that situation taken care of, and I'm so glad I did, or else that would have been a very horrible mess in my car. So I'm still good on time. Get back into get back going down the highway. So I'm getting close to the address. So I'm like, cool. I see a parking garage. I'm going to park in the parking garage. So I have on heels, I have on a dress. I go to the building and I get into like the reception area, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel like where I need to be. So I asked someone, I said, "Hey, is this address here?" And the guy says, "No." He was like, "You're at East. You need to go to North." So I'm like, "Oh, crap. And I was like 15 minutes early at this point. Like I was 15 minutes early to the interview time, which means I don't have time. I don't have time to go north. So I checked the address on my maps and it's a mile away. So I'm thinking where I parked, I'm going to have to move it, find another parking spot, and still be on time for this interview.
You might as well walk.
Yep, I was like, I don't have time to do that. So I ran to my car, I grabbed my flip flops, and I speed walking down the street. And then I'm at a pedestrian crosswalk, and this gentleman, he said, ma'am, he was like, half of your dress is zipped down in the back. He was like, are you okay with me fixing this for you? And I was like, yes, please. So he zipped up my dress. And then I'm going to be late at this point. Like it's hot. It's like 80 degrees that morning, sweating. And I'm like, I'm trying to call the recruiter for the company to let them know, like, hey, I'm on my way. I'm going to be a few minutes late. I'm basically running at this point. So I get to the building. There's a guy out there that's assisting me. So he's standing out there waiting for me. And it's like, I am so sorry. So he was like, that's okay. And I told him, I was like, I know I have on flip flops. I was like, I have my heels in my bag. And he's like, they're not going to see you. He was like, your feet are going to be under the desk. They're going to be up on the screen. He was like, you're fine. So he hooked the whole screen up, and I'm interviewing with three people. I'm in this conference room, like by myself, with the three people down here in Florida. And this interview is lasting a very long time. It was lasting over an hour. It got to the point to where the motion lights shut off. I was just sitting there in the dark because I'm just like, I didn't dare to move because I have flip flops on. So finally they were like, Melissa, you can stand up and motion around so that way the light will come back on. So I stood up, and like the whole time I'm thinking, I hope they don't see my flip flops. But the interview lasted a good hour and a half. And when I was walking out, the gentleman that was assisting me, he says, wow, that was a really long interview. I hope you got it. That's like the longest interview that I've ever seen them do. And then I could barely find my car after I left there. I ended up getting blisters on the bottom of my feet. And I found out the next day that I did not get the job. So that was very disappointing. And they didn't give a reason why they didn't give me the job. But I was like, man, after all that work, after all that work, and I didn't get the job. And I was really bummed out. It's hard to.
That's not a rejection. That's funny.
Well, it was everything it was everything that happened to me that was funny, because I'm like, shit, I went through so much to get to that interview, and then I got rejected. But it was funny, all of the trials and tribulations that I went through and this was a job that I really, really wanted. So I really didn't know how to overcome that rejection, because I didn't know why they rejected me, but I didn't want to take that as a no.
Mm.
And I told myself, I was like, I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep trying for this job. I believe I interviewed 2 more times. Whenever another position came up, I would apply for it. I kept getting told no. And then finally, I think it was almost 2 years ago, another position came up. And at this point in time, I knew someone that worked at that organization. So I ended up getting another interview, and this time the interview was in person, and the interview lasted 2 hours. Yep, 2 hours. And then after that interview, I had to do another interview with a second person. I think it was like a couple days later. But I finally ended up getting the job that I wanted after all of that. I ended up getting the job, and I've been in the position about a year and a half now. So persistence paid off, I guess. um, but yeah, that's a long rejected but funny story, I guess, in the career world. But I didn't let it get me down. I was like, there is no way they're going to tell me no. I was like, I'm going to keep trying. And it worked. It
It
worked.
did.
Yeah. All right. So, and speaking of that, so where, just not accepting no as an answer, at what point in time do we just accept rejections and then look back and think, man, that was really a blessing?
I think that is like something that I see like a lot of people struggle with. I would almost say on a day to day or a weekly basis, especially since I manage like I would say a large team of like 60. Like, not that we're like rejecting people every day,
Right.
uh, but just because it's like raise time and people don't take criticism, or not criticism, but feedback very well.
Right.
Um, but I think some people don't see it as an opportunity to be better. I think they just
Mhm.
see it straight at face value, like, oh, if I get the average raise, then I'm only worth average. And they don't see it as like, how do I be better than average?
Mm-mm.
Or I'm underperforming. Well, now I really don't want to try. And I think
Yeah.
people don't really see that feedback and be like, man, how can I make this and turn the situation around? I think something that took a while for me was I struggled a lot applying for jobs out of college and getting rejected. I didn't apply to many, but I applied to three, and two of the ones that I wanted were both in North Carolina, and I got rejected from both, which sort of shocked me because I feel like I did really good in
Right.
college, and
And at
I
your internship.
and in my internship, I feel like I did really well, and I feel like I interviewed pretty well for one of them, and I interviewed just all right for the other, and I
Hmm.
think I was still shocked that I got rejected from both, but had I not got rejected, then I would have never been able to like experience living here, which is sort of like the perspective change that I had that I think worked out for the better. I think I needed like time away to
Yeah,
like focus on my career at the start instead of being like so close to things that were familiar. So I think that was
definitely.
like one of the bigger ones, job related.
Nice.
What about you?
Rejections that turned out to be blessings, I would probably say a majority of the relationships that I have encountered in life. I just think different guys that I dated, I would be super upset that they didn't work out. And I always wondered, like, man, what's wrong with me? Or, well, man, if this guy didn't want to date me, then why would I think future guys would want to date
Mm,
me, or even better guys than I thought he was? Why would I think someone better would want to date me? So I think now that I'm at the age that I'm at, I think back and now I realize, okay, those rejections did turn out to be blessings. Like I wasn't meant to be with that person, and who knows where I would be at in life. Not saying that my life would be miserable or whatever, but where I'm at now, I feel like I'm really enjoying my life. Like I really enjoy living in Tampa right now. I really enjoy where I work. I enjoy the life that I have here. So now that I look back, I'm like, okay, those things did not work out for a reason. And I feel now I'm really experiencing the blessings because of that. And I think career wise, when I was leaving Maryland, I oh my God, I probably applied for like 100 jobs in Virginia because I initially wanted to move back to Virginia so that way Damonte could have his mom and dad in the same state. And I wasn't getting anything. I wasn't getting any hits on any jobs that I was applying for. There was one job that I did interview with, and they didn't want to pay me what I wanted. So I turned that down. And it wasn't like an exciting job either. So I turned that down and I just went out on a whim and said I was going to move to Tampa and I'd figure it out when I got here. So it ended up working out. But yeah, so every time now, like when a relationship doesn't work out or if something just doesn't work out how I expected, my mindset is totally different now. I just look at it as okay, like that is not meant for me right now in this point of time, and I'm okay with that. And I'm going to keep enjoying my life and I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing and I'm going to keep moving forward and I'm going to continue making plans like doing the marathon or making plans with my friends and doing things instead of putting my life on hold hoping something is going to great happen to me or whatever. But yeah, so that's the way I changed my mindset now versus what it used to be when things didn't work out.
Do you think that different? It sounds like we are like sort of similar in like how we handle rejection now, but do you think, generally speaking, different generations handle rejection differently? Like, did people talk about rejection when you were younger, or was like failure more private? Maybe do you think like social media makes rejection worse today, or maybe easier since we don't see it as much?
Um, I would say when I was your age, I definitely took rejection a lot harder. I would probably cry about it for weeks and a month at least, like if something didn't work out. But I mean, especially with like relationship stuff, I talked about it like amongst my friends. So I would say private in the aspect of we didn't really put stuff on social media like that when I was your age. I don't even think back then. I don't even think back then we had like Facebook or no, we definitely didn't have Facebook. I think MySpace came about. Shoot, I don't even remember. I think maybe when you were in elementary school, I think was when MySpace came out.
Around then.
I don't know
Around
what,
then.
huh?
Around that time, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I know back then, like we would, I would probably be so embarrassed if I ever saw any MySpace posts. I know I get embarrassed for myself when I see memories on Facebook pop up from like 20 years ago and I see posts that I made and I'm like, what the hell was I talking about? Like that is so corny. But I think social media could make rejection, I think, a little bit harder. And not saying that people air bad stuff on social media, like, oh man, I didn't get the job today. Like, I don't see any of that stuff come in my algorithm. I do see. Now, I will say, I do see people recording themselves crying, like, I can't believe he's dating her. Like, I do see that. And I'm like, get your shit together. Like, come on now. Like, you're crazy recording this on social media. But actually, you're not crazy. It's normal. Just don't do it on social media. but um, but I will say, being single and you see so many people on their vacations and doing things with their significant other, their boyfriend, girlfriend, husband. It's like, man, I've seen this person date, get married, divorce, date, get married again, and I'm still single. I would say that's when
We're
that's when
so off topic.
no, but I will say that's when rejection hits me worse, because when I see all of that happen, I'm just like, man, and I'm still getting rejected. Nobody's asking me out. So I will say that's how social media affects. I allow social media to affect me in that aspect. Is when I see that. Yeah. What do you think?
I disagree with your perspective, and I think we might have touched on this in episodes before, but I'll get to that point. But I think younger, I feel like I don't remember people talking about rejection very much, and like failure being private. I feel like I don't really recall that being like big or not. I feel like you just didn't hear about people failing. But in terms of social media, what I wanted to touch on was I feel like it's all like algorithm based. I feel like I feel like you say that people aren't posting like, "Yep, I didn't get this job today," but I feel like I see people embracing rejection more and showing like they're
Okay.
overcoming like I know I saw like an example I've seen is I think I might have talked to you about it, but there's like ultra marathons and
Yeah.
it's like 50 and 100-mile marathons and people are like, this is my third time trying
Mm.
and I finally got it on my third time and I failed the first time, failed the second time. And it's
Oh
like they almost got
wow.
not rejected in a way, but it just didn't work out the first and second time and then the third time they tried it. I know something that I feel like is more my generation is like people being open and like embracing like health issues and like sharing their perspective on it and
That's
like
good.
turning it to be like optimistic like I know girls where it's like they're like I'm dealing with X condition and it's like it's been hard for me to eat, my hair's been falling
Oh.
out, but I've still done XYZ and I still feel like I'm making the most out of this condition.
Oh wow. Okay. I like your algorithm.
So I think people are maybe not posting like yep, I got turned down today from a date. And I think another thing that I've seen along the same lines is I get it like probably every couple of months, but it'll be like a video of someone doing like rejection therapy,
Oh
and
wow.
it'll be like my goal. I'm gonna document, and I'm gonna document me trying to get 100 no's
Wow.
so they overcome rejection, and it'll be like I'm gonna ask I'm gonna ask the flight attendant if I can go in the cockpit for the flight. And it's weird because a lot of like the rejection therapy videos, they get a lot of yeses. And it'll be like they'll go to a coffee shop and ask if they can make their own coffee. And then they end up making their own coffee.
Oh no way.
So I think that's where I feel like I see people embracing rejection more or spinning it to be like
Does that give you more confidence to go out and do or try things that you've never done?
probably more than I realize, but I feel like I'm not easily influenced
Oh, okay.
by social media since I think it's pretty fake. But I do know that like lately, I don't know if it's just like the algorithm I'm on, but a lot of like fitness influencers,
Hmm.
their like theme in the past month has been like just start making content.
Yeah,
And that's been their perspective is like just make content because what's the worst that's gonna happen? You end up where you started.
true.
So yeah. So I think that my generation handles rejection differently.
Oh, okay. No, I like that aspect because I really like that there are people out there that are putting their rejections out there so that way other people can see, like, hey, it's normal. Things are not going to be easy. And it allows people that courage to look at them and say to themselves, wow, it's okay if I fail. That person failed and they're okay with it. So, hey, I'm going to give it a shot and I may not fail. So, I think that's awesome that that is being put out there in the social media space. Maybe I don't think that's in my algorithm, or maybe it is. And I just,
Skip by.
I have been getting a lot of running ones lately just because my friends are sending me running ones and about people shitting while running marathons. So that's my algorithm right now.
We're gonna save that for post marathon podcast.
Yeah.
If one of us becomes a statistic.
I pray I'm not. Oh my goodness. I
Speaking
I
of, oh, good.
I came across a video, I think it was yesterday, about different exercises to do so that way you use the restroom before you leave the house. So I was
Goodness.
like, I saved that video so I can do those exercises.
Speaking of swiping past things, I know that you said that you have a scroll of it, but what is your perspective of how rejection might have looked when you were my age versus like rejection now? Like pre-texting rejection, and like ghosting is a thing now, and then like rejection, resilience in relationships.
Um, well, your age, I was,
You're
well,
married.
yeah, I was married to your dad, but I would say we'll bring it back to like high school. But if you got broken up with by a guy, oh my God, your life was over, like crying. And the way you found out is because you saw him walking in the hall with another girl. Like that was your notice
Mm.
that you guys aren't together anymore. Or they hang up on you when you're talking on the phone and then they hang up, and then yeah, and then you see them at school talking with someone else, or you hear through the grapevine like so and so and so and so are passing notes to each other. So then that's how you know, like, oh, okay, well, I guess,
Your contract's up.
yeah, yeah, passing the good old notes.
And then what about now?
Now
I feel like based on what you tell me, it's like you,
they just
you
ghost.
yeah, I was about to say ghost, like effort.
Yeah, a lot of it's just ghosting. So for an example, there was I had met a gentleman in January, or like at Gasparilla, and he was interested. And and I told him from the get-go, like, hey, I'm not interested in dating this year. I don't have the time. I have a bunch of things that are going on, and I was like, just have zero expectations. But he would text me every single day. Like, I tried to keep up with communication. It was just hard because I was like just moving into this place. I had like trips coming up. Like, there was just a lot going on in that span of time. And so I sent him a text, and I can't remember what I wrote, but I told him, I was like, hey, because he was like texting me back to back, and I was just like, fuck, let me breathe. Like, I didn't even have a chance to respond to the last one before he sent another one.
So the opposite
Um,
of ghosting is what he was doing.
yeah, he was like, ugh. Yeah, so I sent him a text and I was like, "Hey, I don't know if I gave the wrong signals somewhere." I told him, "You're really nice, but however, like I stated before, I don't have time to invest into building into a relationship or getting to know someone right now. Um, and then he gave me the thumbs up on the text. He gave me a thumbs he gave me a thumbs up. But then like days later, I think it was like 5 days later, he sends me this text message and it was just weird. I was like, I didn't even know what it meant. And he got blocked because I was like, I'm not dealing with weird messages. Like, that's so strange.
So that's rejection now, the block button?
Yeah, the block is when you have really disrupted me on my phone. You're getting
Oh.
blocked. Like, but I how I receive rejection now is like they just go ghost. Or if they're not, you can tell when someone's not interested, they just don't put effort in communication. Like they'll send a one word response.
Mhm.
And I'm like, it just don't waste my time. Or yeah, they just fizzle away. That's how it is right now. I do at least try to let someone know like, hey, this isn't gonna work. I at least I try to communicate that to someone so that way they know where I stand instead of just allowing them to text every day. Yeah, what about you?
I don't know. I don't really have a lot of good. I don't have a then and now. I mean, like you said, yeah, like when you're in high school, like, or when you're in middle school and you break up with someone, that's like the end of your world. But I don't know about like rejection now. I feel like yeah, like ghosting's like a thing, but
Mm. But would you ever have you told a girl, like, hey, this isn't gonna work out? Like, if you take someone on a date, like, how do you know it's not gonna go anywhere after the first date?
um, I'm trying to think. I feel like typically like it's mutual. Like it just gets drier and drier,
Yeah,
and then it's just like, all right, there's no point responding.
yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the way I feel. Like, yeah, there's no point in responding.
Is there any rejections that you are still not over?
Oh
Like
my
some
God.
that still stings like when you talk about it.
Yep, there is. Man. So it's with one particular individual. I've known him since 2000 and 2008. I've known him since 2008. He lives in Maryland. And when I moved to Maryland, that's when him and I really I moved to Maryland in 2015, and then that's when him and I really talked more. Um and I actually I actually ended up moving to Florida to get away from him because it wasn't a good situation. It just seemed toxic. So that's why I ended up moving to Florida. I was like, I got to get out of this situation. And moving across state lines was the answer. Um, and then we ended up starting we ended up picking up communication again. I can't remember how or when. I don't know. I don't remember. Um, and then and then then when my parents came to move to Florida, they were living with me for like 6 months. So I had reached out to him and I said, "Hey, can I come live with you for a few months?" Because I was really stressed. And he said, well, he was like, I'm actually thinking about moving to Tampa. Um, so I didn't bring it up. I didn't say anything. I didn't ask why, nothing like that. Him and I ended up going on a trip together, I think like a couple months later. And then that's when we talked about it. And he was going to move to Tampa to be with me and all of that. So he came to visit. Sometime after that, he had came to visit and we talked about being together and him moving to Tampa, us having a baby, like all of the conversations like we were having. And then a couple weeks after he left, it's like he fell off the face of the earth. Didn't hear from him.
Second life.
And then, like, I was still like, I was reaching out. Like, I don't know how consistent, but I was going off my rocker because I was like, WTF. Like, I probably should have been in a psych ward somewhere. I know that's how crazy I was feeling inside, like the rage. And then finally one day I was like, you owe me an answer. Like, I need to know what is going on. So he ended up calling me. And as soon as he got on the phone, he said, I'm not going to answer any questions that you have. So I literally wasn't going to get any answer to anything that I wanted to know, like what happened. I wanted to know what happened. And so we didn't talk after that. And then I think it was about I can't remember the time span, but it was probably about a year and a half later. I ended up seeing him because I went to Maryland. I went to Baltimore for a game, for a Ravens game. I ended up seeing him. And then he told me he was about to be a father. Well, clearly not from me. So that definitely kind of threw me for a loop. And then I didn't talk to him after that. And then I went back to Maryland this past December for another Ravens game. I had seen him at the game and that was it. Like, we didn't really have like a lot of conversation, but I still don't know. So that's one that I still haven't gotten over. That one still stings and I don't have closure over that one. I still yeah.
How do you
Yep.
cope through that?
Ah,
I guess you could just be lucky you're not on the other side.
which
Like
side's that?
like the mother of the child side.
I
Like that'd be
yeah, I
pretty
don't
defeating.
even
Like the father of your expecting child was like living a parallel life that you didn't know about. But it's
well
actually your child.
well that child came about like way after him and I had those conversations about
But it
him
was a year and
moving
a half,
here.
so like
Well, the baby wasn't born yet. Like, it was still some months before that baby was born.
mm,
Like, I don't know how that relationship transpired. I didn't ask questions. All I knew was I knew enough to know that I didn't want to ask any questions. Like, I just didn't want to know the details. I had heard enough at that point. So I just yeah, I don't know. That one I'm still not over.
mm.
Yep, still not over that one. But yeah, that one was tough. Still tough. Like I think that's why I have a hard time dating to this day.
Mm.
So, because it's like, yeah, people can talk about things, they can say all these great things that they're gonna do, and it's just like, well, until you show me something different, like I can't believe anything that you say.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Yeah. I think that's why this year I was like, I'm not dating this year, like whatsoever.
Mm.
Like, unless Jesus Christ delivers him to my door himself, like, I am not dating. I just, I feel like I just don't have it in me. Like, I'm almost at the point where I'm just like disgusted with what I've seen. So, yeah. What about you? Is there one that you haven't gotten over? Like a rejection you haven't gotten healed from?
I feel like no.
No,
I feel like I just move on. Like
really?
me sitting on it isn't gonna make it pass.
Oh,
I mean, like, you knew I was pretty bummed that I didn't get like that position in the office, but
yeah.
but when I took a step back and I was like, is that really what my end goal is? Of like,
Right.
then I just moved on. Like, because I think I was looking at it too much from like a money perspective instead of like an experience perspective,
Right.
and it's like we're still like, I don't. I even told my boss today. I was like, I know I complain a lot, but I was like, I feel like the things I could experience, every situation happens at work. Like literally, I don't know if this is like, I don't know if it's HIPAA. I don't know if we're big enough for me to be like TMIing, but it's like I have a lead who's new, and like when we get new employees, it's through like a temporary employment agency.
Okay.
So it's just like contracted work that we're
Oh, yeah.
providing, and this one girl's just been struggling. Like, she doesn't have like a great attitude. She's been sick, and like she's told me like, hey, like I've been throwing up. Like, can I leave? And I'll just be like, yeah, go. Like, I don't want you throwing up at work.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm on the verge of just like ending her assignment. Like,
Mm.
let's just let her go.
Yeah.
Like, it's been a couple absences or like leave earlies, and my lead told my boss and was like, yeah, the girl thinks she might be pregnant. So now we're in a like, now it's not the same circumstances,
Yeah, I was
because
just gonna
now
ask, like, if someone's sick like that, then maybe there's like a underlying, like
because now
something's going on.
because now pregnancy is a disability. So now my hands might be tied. But
Well, yeah, you can't fire someone because they're pregnant.
yep, nope, I can't. So it's like, that's a learning experience for me,
Yeah, that is
and
a huge learning
and
experience.
for my lead. Like,
Yeah.
man, we just shouldn't have asked. Like, but it's like, like literally, I feel like everything that could happen at work, like HR related, or people with like bad tempers, and we fire them and they beg for their job back, and then they
Do
want
they
to,
improve
and
if they get
some
their
do
job
and
back?
some don't. So it's like I'm learning a lesson about like giving people second chances. Like, I feel like all of that is like things that I'm learning. I don't know how this is like related, me not getting the position. So it's like, had I got that job, then I would have never been exposed
Right.
to that. But I wouldn't say that there's like a rejection that still stings.
Okay. So you're able to cope pretty well if something doesn't work out.
I feel like that's what everyone says about me. Like, I'm just like even keel. Like,
Yeah. I
whatever
never
happens,
see you
happens.
get too emotional over anything.
No, and that's why it's like weird when like I do. There's been like a few times at work where like I just get frustrated, and everyone's like, "Dude, like, what is wrong?" And I'm like, something stupid. Like, it's always something stupid.
Yeah.
But No, I don't think there's any like rejection that still stings.
Oh, okay. But at least you take the time when something does happen, at least you take the time to really, you do think through things though. You work it out in your mind, like, okay, I didn't get that position, but you look at the overall picture, like, is that going to help me reach my end goal for
Yeah.
what I want career wise? So at least you know how to go through that process when something does happen. So that's the most important thing, is knowing how to cope when something doesn't work out the way that you was hoping it would.
Yeah, I think I was pretty upset the first time I tried to squat 500 and I couldn't. That was a little upsetting, but then I got it a week later. But
Nice. You kept at it.
I'm trying to think of like a rejection that like just sits with me. I would say one was like when I was talking about applying for that like consulting job and it closed before I applied.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't I don't know if I would say it still stings, but it definitely taught me a lesson. And like from that point forward, anytime I saw an application was open, it was a right then thing and not a let me sit on this thing.
Right.
But then it opened back up and then I didn't get it. Then I was like, it just wasn't meant to be.
Hmm.
And I think they saw me apply like multiple times and then they like put more like requirements in there. So I think they were like indirectly telling me why like
Well, since he isn't taking the hint,
since two no's wasn't enough. But
that's
yeah,
okay.
that's like
It's okay
really
to
the
keep
only
trying.
thing. I think the funny one would be like, as you know, the 10,000 calorie challenge.
Oh, yeah.
That one looms with me because I failed it the first time. And
I And for the record, I never want him to do this again. Like, this sounded horrible. And this should never be a goal. Like, it shouldn't ever be anyone's goal to do this.
this is so off the plot of the episode, but there's a challenge that I saw on YouTube once, and it's to eat 10,000 calories in one day. And I think to some people think it sounds easy because they're like, oh, I can just kill a couple bags of a big bag of chips, or oh, I can binge a bag of Doritos or something, or man, I'm so hungry I could eat a whole pizza. But that's not the case. I learned that the first time. Yeah, you can be hungry some days and you can just subconsciously eat a lot, but once you pass like 5,000 calories, that's when it gets like you don't want to eat anymore. But it's funny because I've been talking about doing it again lately, and I got a
Mm-mm.
memory on Snapchat that I did it for the first time 3 years ago in February. Um, so it was like the 3 year anniversary
Mm.
in February. But for the record, it loomed with me so much and it stung that I had to do it. That I had to do it last year, and I did it. So
Ugh. And your body, did your body reject everything that you ate?
no, I kept it all down. You lose if you throw it up. So,
Oh, gosh.
but yeah, I'm thinking about doing it again. But
I think that's a horrible idea.
and maybe I'll document it this time so we can have good content.
All for all for social media.
Okay, next topic. Should you ever reject yourself first? Talking about self doubt, like not applying for a job or not asking someone out or not trying something.
I will
I think
say
you and I
I
have the same
do
take.
this. What's that?
I was gonna say I think we probably have the same take.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You can go first.
I would say no, but I know that I do it. So like for the example I just gave, like not applying for the job, and that sort of taught me a lesson in that aspect. And then back to like what I said about spinning rejection and embracing it and trying, and you might the worst that can happen is you end up back where you started. I think sometimes I switch mood that I'm in,
Hmm.
and I'll tell my close friends about it. I'm like, man, I really want to post because I feel like if I'm in the mood, I could engage an audience. And there's other times where I'm like, I could just delete everything. and I could just go without social media. And I go from like extremes
Yeah.
and I just don't do it. And I think some of it would be like self rejecting in the sense, what are people going to think? Which isn't, I feel like that's not very me to be like, man, what's someone going to think of me doing this?
Right.
But I think sometimes I think that I criticize myself about, is this how I want to be seen? I don't know.
Hmm.
I think sometimes like I said, I'm on the extreme and I self reject the idea of like just doing something and sticking with it throughout. Like the idea. And I think it's, yeah, Tyson, my buddy that I run with, like watches like the same content creators that I do a little bit, and he was like, I feel like I could do content. And then he got a camera, and like watching him like record and post, I'm like, man, like I could do this. But then I don't. So it's like,
I think also, I think it's really hard to stay consistent with posting because I'm the same way with as you. Like I can do some, but then it's like I get tired. I don't have a whole lot of time, in a day. Like after work, I have other things that I need to do, and I don't want to put posting on social media one of those priority things unless it has to do with our podcast. Then I definitely make time for that. But I have been really trying to keep consistent with posting about my runs because I have noticed that it is really inspiring other people. So once I've been receiving that feedback, it's been motivating me to keep posting about my stats of running.
yeah, you inspired me this weekend. So
Yay. Yeah, so that excites me to post about that kind of stuff.
yeah, I think like my thing with content is when I'm so like quality driven,
Right.
and I think that some people just post to post. And I
Right.
think that's like the time we're in right now with social media where it's quality over quantity. And one of your masses of quantity is gonna hit. Like one
Mm,
of them is gonna hit. But I think when I like I said, I'm like one or the other. So I always feel if I look back on something I've posted, I want it to be absolutely worthwhile. I always tell everyone, this is gonna sound bad, but I obsess over my Instagram. I feel no post goes wasted, in my opinion.
I get so excited when you post something. I'm like, oh my God, Damonte posted something. I
Like
can't wait to see it.
I'm out of the cave. Like anytime I put something on my story, I want it to be thoughtful. Any actual Instagram post, I want it to be thoughtful.
Mm-hmm.
But if I do content, that's what I'm outputting won't be to the same standard.
Right.
And I think that's what I self doubt sometimes.
Oh, okay.
I think I would hold myself to the everything has to be A1 standard.
Mm-hmm.
But that just isn't a realistic expectation.
No. And that's why like sometimes I will post behind the scenes stuff with our podcast because I want people to see like this isn't easy. It's hard to start up a podcast at home. Like we do have things that just don't work out sometimes, or we are working things out as we're going along. Because if someone's thinking about doing a podcast, I do want them to kind of get sneak peeks behind the scenes of, man, your first 20 times is not going to be easy. Even like when I ended up uploading the podcast with Seth, I was like,
Yeah.
shoot, I was like, I missed a whole like beginning part of it. And then I couldn't take it down you can't just re-upload a video. I would have to take the whole thing down off YouTube and re-put it back up. And I was like, man, that's going to mess up our views. So I didn't want to take it down and re-put it back up because I didn't realize it until way after.
Mm.
And I was like, crap. So that was a lesson learned there. But yeah.
But I feel like on the opposite end. Like when it comes to athletic things, I typically never self doubt. I think I'm over believing, and I think that's why I struggle with snowboarding so much. It
Good with snowboarding.
is like I feel like I could try anything and be decent, but
Mm,
like snowboarding is the one that just doesn't. That's like one where I'm like, yeah, I'll just shoot my shot, or like I'll shoot my shot and I won't like not do it, but it like
mhm.
it teaches me every time.
I mean, that's a tough sport.
But I think that is like an area where I'm always advocating for people to not self reject first.
Hmm.
I was just talking to a buddy yesterday at the gym, and he was like, "I think I want to do my first half." He was like, "Do you have any advice?" And I was like, "You just have to go outside.
Yep. Oh
You
yeah.
literally just have to do it." And I told him, Sunday I could have had all the excuses in the world
Hmm.
not to run, and it was the longest run since October. And I was like, that'll make your short runs easier
Yeah.
when you don't have any excuses, and then your short runs just get easier.
Hmm. That is so true.
So I think running has made like self doubting less frequent.
Oh, that's good. Nice.
Do you think that as a parent, you accidentally taught me about rejection in a way?
Um,
Was there anything you made me do where you're like, yeah, he probably won't succeed, but it'll teach him something?
I won't say that I intentionally did it, but I know your dad and I always wanted you to be in sports.
Yeah,
Because it's like, if he doesn't do good, if he's not the star player, it's okay. We just wanted you to be out there being active, making friends, at least trying something. Okay, this is the first time he's playing soccer. You know, it's okay. It will be all these kids' first time playing soccer. Like, they're
yeah.
not going to know what to do. So, it was okay for us if you didn't do good. Because then, and I know we had these conversations with you when you were younger, but just letting you know, like, hey, it's okay. Like, it's okay if you didn't make a goal, or it's okay if you didn't hit the ball. Like, that's how you improve and that's how you get better. That's if you wanted to. We wanted to give you the opportunity to learn about sports and for you to try to figure out which sport you like the best. And that's why we put you in all of them. We're like hoping that you'll like at least one of them.
And then none of them
So,
stuck.
yeah. What's that?
I said then none of them stuck.
No,
Then
I
I
mean, you did really. So, I think there was one that I was really bummed out with
was
you
baseball.
was baseball because you did so good in baseball. I loved watching you play.
Hmm.
And when you said you didn't want to play, I was like, that sucks. But
And then
I
I
would
ended up
never make anyone do something that they didn't want to do.
then I somehow ended up playing tennis.
Yeah. Tennis is a good sport. It's exhausting.
I think one thing for me that I wouldn't say that you guys like, influenced, but I think when I didn't get into NC State,
Hmm.
I think that one, I think that was a little devastating just because of the circumstances. Because it was like NC State and then like UNCW was the backup.
Mm.
But all my friends had already gotten to NC State,
Yeah.
and I was the last one to find out that I was a spring admit. But it was like
Mm.
my dad was moving, so I would have had a gap, like a semester of nothing, if I
Yeah.
actually stuck to it. Um, so I think that one was pretty tough.
Yeah,
But
that one I wanted for you only because I knew that was the one you seemed most excited about. And then when you didn't pick it, I was like, what?
but
But it worked out the way it was supposed to.
yeah, without that, then I wouldn't have met Zane,
Right.
and Brady was there. And then even though he moved afterwards, then Johnny ended up coming. So
Yeah.
it ended up working out in the end. And then I wouldn't have had the opportunity to come out here had I not gone to
Right.
UNCW. So that's why, like I said, it's hard for me to be stuck on something. have it sting forever. But that one was like, that was like a harder rejection. But we've talked about that in previous episodes about things I wish I knew. And I think that my high school involvement and grades and like SAT and stuff would have like influenced that
Mm-hmm.
to be different. But the only one that I could think of.
I
There was
mean, it
no.
worked out the way it was supposed to, though. I think everything worked out great.
Yeah, and you guys were supportive. Like, I know that you guys were like, I feel like something that you guys like were saying was like, I could just go to the community college for that semester if I
Yeah.
wanted to, and we would figure out like an apartment for me to stay there
Mm-hmm.
just to make sure like if I really wanted to go, then I
Yeah.
would just go late in the spring. Um, so you guys were always supportive,
Yeah.
but there was no like sport tryout that like where I was like damaged.
That's good.
Yeah.
Nice. Success stories. I like that. So, one of the main reasons how this topic even came about was this past weekend, I was with my best friend and she was talking to her son and she was telling me a conversation that her and him had, and he was saying that he didn't want to mention something to someone because he wasn't good at rejection. And I told her, I was like, wow, I was like, that's a really great podcast episode that Damonte and I can do. We can do it about rejection. Um, because I was like, man, I wonder how many people do that. Like, say they don't want to say something to someone because they're afraid of being rejected. And it just made me wonder how many people go through life keeping themselves from possibly something great because they're afraid of rejection.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted for us to be able to put this out on our platform, because as our viewers have seen, we both have gone through rejections, and it didn't break us, or it didn't keep us from doing great things in our life. And that's one thing that we wanted to hopefully hit this message home with, that even though we got rejected and we had stumbling blocks along the way, we used those blocks to continue climbing and to keep going in life. And we still found a way, no matter how bad those rejections felt. We still tried to change our mindset and looked at the way how those rejections made us feel and how we can learn from it and either grow from it or not take no for an answer and keep trying.
Yeah.
So thank you all for tuning in. And if you guys have any rejection stories that you would love to share with us, please leave a comment. And if you feel that this message can resonate with anyone that you know, please share this podcast episode with them, because we would really love if these episodes help people out with things that they're going through, and just so people know that they're not going through it alone, and that we've been there and we have experienced rejection from early 20s, teenagers, and I'm 46 and I'm still getting rejected. Thank you all for tuning in. And on our next episode, we have two very special guests that will be recording with us. And we are looking forward to having you guys hear from them and I believe we're going to be talking about boundaries.
Yeah.
It's going to be our next episode.
So stay tuned for that. And once again, thank you guys for tuning in and listening to another one of our podcasts.
All right. See you later.
See ya.
Bye.
And that's a wrap.
Cheers. Oh, no, I should say, and that's a wrap as well, huh?
Probably.
Okay, we'll do that again.
Thanks for tuning in.
That's a
Cheers. And
That's a wrap.